but needs must, the hair's getting longer. Hello, welcome back to yet another video. So glad to have you here. So, you want to get into cinematography, maybe photography, now it's 2021. What better time? We've had a rubbish year last year. Make the most of it, do something fun. But you've also decided to spend a lot of money. Because you're about to. Every penny of every paycheck is going towards camera gear now. You're broke, but you have fantastic gear, so that's all that matters. But that is not the point. Today I'll be going over the types of cameras you can buy. It's just some options, some pros and cons of each of them. Just a pointer that I have used all the cameras that I'm gonna show on the screen as suggestions of the various price points. There are other options, just go out and research. But this is just to give you an idea of the types of cameras if you're a complete novice in the camera world. But to start with, let's start with the classic, the OG king, the DSLR. So DSLR stands for Digital Single Lens Reflex, which sort of means that you've got one lens, shines light in, it bounces off a mirror, into another mirror, into the eyepiece, and once you press the shutter button, that little mirror goes whoosh, and the light goes straight through onto the sensor and takes the photo. Simple, great engineering, gonna be honest. Now, some pros to this, they are incredibly reliable. You cannot break a DSLR really. And if you have, go get help because somehow you've broken a DSLR. Now, with a DSLR, there comes different size sensors. You can go from medium format to full frame, to APS-C, to micro four thirds, and a few others which I actually don't remember. The battery life is phenomenal. One of these little LPE6 batteries on my ATD will last me about 2 days normally if I'm just shooting photo. As of right now, you can buy a DSLR and a lens for the decent price of about £1,500 for a decent setup that will do both video and photography, which in the scheme of things isn't that bad. And obviously it's a DSLR, so it's incredibly modular. You can get different lenses for wide angle, telephoto, sort of generalized primes and stuff. You can get external monitors, microphones, battery grips, everything. So a few of the cons. When it comes to video, only the higher end models will have 4K built in most of the time. You have to like rope out a lot of money to get the 4K quality, which is sort of expected now in today's society of visuals. They're usually very, very bulky because obviously they have to have that mirror mechanism inside. There needs to be a lot of room for that motion. So if I do a little side-by-side comparison of my old ATD and the R6, which I'm on at the moment, you can see there is a massive difference when it comes to size. Usually when it comes to photography, they have a lot slower shooting speeds. So their frame rate of that shutter opening and closing, it's a lot slower because it is mechanical. And at the moment, they are slowly being eased out of production and replaced by the mirrorless, which I'll talk about next. So bear that in mind if you are going to buy it, because there is a possibility they might go out of date relatively soon, I don't know. And here are some options of DSLRs that I've used in the past, ranging from expensive to cheaper. All very good options, do some research, cool. So up next is mirrorless, what I'm currently shooting on at the moment. It is very, very, very similar to the DSLR. You've got options to change lenses. The general body shape is pretty similar. You've got a screen, you've got an eyepiece. It's the newer generation of a DSLR essentially. But the main difference is, rather than having that flick up mirror that a DSLR has, you've simply got lens, light onto the sensor. That sensor then records the image to the eyepiece, and it's a little screen inside the eyepiece which shows you what your lens is seeing, which makes for a much thinner profile when it comes to the camera. Some of the pros, obviously, a lot smaller than DSLRs, which means they're lighter. In a video standpoint, most of them are 4K built in, like straight away from the box. Some are even going up to 6K, or even in the R5s and the A1s case, you're going up to 8K, which is insane. There are a lot less moving parts in this, which means you can shoot a lot quieter. I've got a wedding coming up in a couple of months, which I'm so excited to shoot because this has silent shooting, rather than the freaking machine gun of a DSLR shooting. Some of the cons, because mirrorless is quite new in this world, especially to Canon, they are quite expensive at the moment in comparison to the DSLR, because obviously they're new technology, they're the new flagships of the camera companies. There are some slight overheating issues with some of the cameras. It's mainly the R5, but that's sort of been alleviated now, I think. But obviously, because it is an electrical system, it's going to be constantly using energy and heating up. Those components will heat up, especially in 8K modes. One of my gripes with mirrorless is the battery life sucks. Because obviously, again, it's constantly using electricity to stay on the screens. Even the viewfinder is electronic, whereas in a DSLR, it's just a mirror. It doesn't require much power. And here are some options for mirrorless. Currently, I am on the R6, which is, might I say, phenomenal. So you have my personal good opinion on this camera. Up next, the classic vlogging camera. Most YouTubers have owned one of these cameras, and that is the point and shoot. Unless you're Peter McKinnon, because that man's biceps must be ridiculous. So obviously it is a super small compact package where everything is rolled into one. The lens is built in, the sound system is built in, the monitor is built in. Everything you need is in this tiny little package that can fit in the palm of your hand. And most of the time, it'll give you great photo and great video straight out the box, which is really desirable for some people who are not like camera nerds, like me. Some of the pros, obviously small and compact, offers amazing image quality out the box. They're usually relatively affordable. Like you get all this stuff wrapped into one package for under £1,000 normally. And the in-body audio is relatively decent, to be fair. You don't need to worry about external microphones and stuff. Some of the cons. There is a lack of control when it comes to shooting options. Most of the video options are built in. You can't really adjust the settings very well to suit your needs. They have a limiting focal range. Obviously, your point and shoot is built in, you can't change the lens. So it's normally, from what I've researched, it's normally from 16mm to about 70mm in most generic point and shoots. This may differ between brands. Again, battery life tends to suck because it is a fully electronic system. Rarely allows for an external mic. Some of the higher end ones do allow for it, but the lower end, you tend to be stuck with the built-in audio. And here are some options of point and shoot cameras that I've used in the past, or borrowed, or just generally shot with. There is that saying that the best camera is the one you have on you at the time. And the one that most people have on them every day, this thing, the phone. And they are incredible. Like, technology has come so far with these things. This is the iPhone 11. It's 1 or 2 years out of date and it's still shooting 4K. Its camera quality is insane. I use this on multiple videos. When my A camera is being used for photography, for example, I'll whip this thing out. So some of the pros, everyone has one. There we go, it's right here. They're extremely compact and portable. This lives in my pocket. Brilliant. On the more recent models, you get amazing quality, 4K, multiple lenses. Why wouldn't you want to shoot on this? Some of the cons, you are limited on shooting styles. Obviously the lenses are built in, so you can't really change those. There's no log footage. You can't really adjust like f-stop and stuff. There are some options, but it's all digital. And for the best quality, you tend to need to go for the pro models, and they can work out a lot more expensive. And for that price, you can sometimes just buy a mirrorless camera. And I'm not gonna put a list of photos. Here we go. There is an option. Just look at phones. There are so many options, I'm not even gonna bother putting a list up. And last but not least, the classic, rugged, tough camera, which is the action camera. We all know the look, we all know them stuck on surfboards and snowboards or thrown off a cliff or strapped to an FPV recently. They can go everywhere. And they are versatile and they're incredible, and I really want one back because my one broke. The action camera comes in a tiny little package and can record amazing quality footage most of the time now. Some of the pros, incredibly portable, this big. Stick it in your pocket, vlog with it if you want to. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. Incredibly durable. You can launch that thing off a cliff and it'll be fine. The UI is normally extremely intuitive when it comes to it because it's such a small package, and underwater shooting. It's a standard when it comes to action cameras. They are designed to get wet and rugged and rough. Some of the cons, you're very limited in footage styles. You've got that typical action cam look. So the hyper wide angle, sort of almost 180-degree view. On the previous models, it tends to suck when it comes to audio. I know the GoPro Hero 9 has actually got decent audio, and I know a few people that actually vlog on it. So again, just look into it, listen to some samples and stuff. And here are some options for action cameras. Again, used all of them at least once. I hope this video gives you an idea of what camera you'd like to invest in. It is a big choice. It can be quite daunting. I spent months working out what camera I wanted to buy next, whether it was the R, the R6 or the R5. It took me forever. So definitely look into it. Don't rush it because you don't want to end up with the wrong camera. Cameras I recommended, I have used myself. I didn't want to recommend cameras that I have never used. So just bear that in mind when it comes to your research. Research other cameras, definitely. I think that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different. And it's my first studio video with the R6. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I shall see you in the next video. Peace.